So the next tool routine we're going to go through is a lacrosse ball section. There's softballs you can use, baseball. There are other variants. My favorite is the lacrosse ball. It's smooth and provides a lot of pressure. The advantage of this is it's a singular point of pressure, right? Compared to our foam roller, which was a linear point of pressure, this is a singular point of pressure. So it's just going to be a lot more intense. The advantages of this are that you can apply your body weight. So it is going to be a little active. You're going to try and relax onto it, but you're positioning to be on top of yourself. If that makes sense, you'll see what I mean, is going to be self-mounted with how much gravity, how much weight you're putting into it, as well as the location and position. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go over a quick spinal routine as well as hips. So we're going to release a lot of the musculature around our IT band as well as our spine. And where you want to be on your spine is right to the left and right of the vertebrae. So we're going to, these strips right here. That's where we're going to be placed. It's important not to put it on your actual vertebrae, right down the center, just an inch or two to the right where the actual musculature is. So I'm going to start on my close side, my left side. It's called a few things: myofascial release, trigger point therapy, self-massage. But we're going to take it and you're going to start right on your trap, right here. You're going to slowly, again, we're going to use our feet to maneuver our weight up and forward and position ourselves and just kind of inch around. And you kind of want to go and find points of tension in your muscular connection, in the fibrotic tension, points of tension that are uncomfortable, not outright painful. You want to go right on that edge of uncomfortable with, and just kind of spend a few moments and breathe into it. So just take a few powerful breaths. The goal here is with your out breath to release that tension onto the singular pressure point. If you find a really juicy point, what I recommend is spend about 5 to 6 breaths on that singular point. And really just try and slow down time. Not in a rush here. Not trying to get anywhere. Just trying to help ourselves out. And every so often we're going to slowly inch our way down. You're going to be scooping all that gunk right in between your spine and your shoulder blade and just kind of working your way down. You can move your arm around. If you put me out in the wild and I could only have one little tool for physical, it would be a lacrosse ball. So what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to bring it to my spine again. So you're going to feel your back, right where your ribs start to end and go into your spine, right where your ribs end. You're just going to put the lacrosse ball right there. The same side leg of the side that you have the lacrosse ball, you're just going to figure 4 over your other knee. And what you're going to do with this is kind of use this one leg to rock your weight left and right to apply various pressure. If you want to apply more pressure onto the point, you're going to shift into it. And if you need to let go a little bit because it's kind of intense, you're going to shift the other way. We're going to do the same thing here that we did with our upper spine. Just find those points of tension an inch or two to the left or right of your spine. And just play around with it. Try and find your individual residual points. Same thing here, big breathing. A good session will probably go a little bit longer in cadence than what I'm doing in this routine. I'm just trying to accommodate modern day attention spans to keep you a little focused. But ultimately, these things you really want to slow down, not just your body and your breathing patterns, but as like a connection from your central nervous system. You want to kind of unravel and relax your mind from this too. That's why I like it so much, I think. Ugh. I'm going to move it down again. So I'm right at the base of my spine here. And what you want to do is when you get to that big fan of bone on your pelvis, right here, that line, once you get to that little crevice where the spine and that intersect, you're going to hold it and you're going to trace out left. Right across the ridge. Just to clarify what I mean with that location here is if I go to my back and find where my hip bone, right spine, and my hip bone fan goes out right here, right? This is top of the bone. We're going to trace, so if it's right here, we're just going to trace right above it. So we're going to go down and over in that same pattern. All right, so I went down. I start to go over. As I go over, I can even use this knee to dip and really get this hip. So this is where we're going to get the top almost at the hip. Now I'm going to skip and go right into my hip capsule, top of my glute. This is the femur hip capsule, right? And this is ensheathed in the pelvis. So we're going to be right in between. So we're going to be right in between the top of the femur head and that fan of the pelvis. So we're going to be in between that top little glute. Chonkiness. Chonkiness is a scientific word. Look it up. Here, I like to take my hip out even on it. So that is one side. I won't repeat, so if you need to do the other side, which I highly recommend, I do it as well. Just repeat from the start. Next, we're going to be releasing. This is a long video, right? One side of my spine took about 8 minutes, maybe a little less for talking. So next, we're going to be releasing our IT band. We're going to do this through the musculature of our quad, right? So imagine this gold strips my IT band. Where we're going to go is right above it on that quad musculature that connects into it at slant. So we're going to bring this through down right above that IT band. Shit. Talking gets you dehydrated. So I'm going to start it right at the top of my hip, right here. Just going to lean into it. It's not going to be on the center line of the hip. It's going to be about 45 degrees out. Right above the gold line. So for me, I'm going to run you through what actually finding a trigger point is like. Trial and error, I have found, for whatever reason, my injuries, my compensation, I have a huge trigger point in my left 45-degree tissues right here on the femur here. And what it's going to feel like sometimes is you're riding a line, like riding a bull. And if you get a tension point, the ball is going to want to slip off to one side or slip off to the other, right? And it's hard to stay on it. You're really going to need to find that balance point and kind of attack it and stay on it. So we got the ball in frame. Quick showing what that's like and how much time it actually takes to get a real trigger point released. I'll get it back up a bit. So at first when I go into it, it's kind of painful and my breathing, it's shortened and I have to remind myself to take long breaths and just kind of relax. My natural instinct is to tense up with pressure in this spot. This is not necessarily pleasant in the moment, but every time I get a good spot, I feel like money. I feel like $1 million after I get it done. So at this point, maybe 60, 90, 120 seconds in is when my body is just starting to release and relax into the pressure and not being such a freak panic stress response. So a lot of these things are going to take about 2 minutes at a minimum to do, which is why it's important that you have to slow down your day and just relax and ease into it. The point of this really is certain points of your myofascial chain, whether it's muscle, ligaments, tendons, the in-between bones, through wear and tear of life, getting an injury or just walking a certain way and compensation patterns, certain parts of your body will like harden almost. So it's really important to just kind of release those tissues, because tightened down tissues will really restrict your range of motion and degrees of freedom. So this is the point where I'm actually going to put the lacrosse ball another inch or two down, keep tracing that line. I have a bunch of just snap, crackly pop points. But where I just was my trigger point, and I'll have to check on the video, but it probably took, 3 minutes to get to the release. So in total, getting a serious lacrosse ball release for your spine and hips will probably take 20 to 35 minutes. If you just find certain spots are money, like just your lower back, can be quicker, 10 minutes or less. But it's kind of unavoidable in life that you're going to have to spend time doing this physical maintenance routines to feel better. And that is a general lacrosse ball routine for your spine and your hips. I'm going to do an active one in the future, and hopefully this actually helps some people. If so, or if you have any questions about anything further, just comment, and thank you for watching. Have a great life.